Does it have to be notarized?
No.
No.
And if you have your forms tonight, give them to Mark and Keith. And of course, if you don't see that either of the three of us, and I'm actually headed back to DC, I got 8 o'clock back to DC. I don't sleep when I go. If we're not around, give us Susan a time. Yes, ma'am.
Permission form to be filled out.
Yep.
There's nothing on it that says where your particular property might be one of those access points.
We will talk to you about that. Wait. So go through the access point. We won't go on access point until we talk to you.
Okay.
We'll have separate easements and forms and discussions about that. Because
So we're not just signing away permission to do that.
the ROEs do not give us permission to create easement to an access point or create where we're going to dump our site. We will not do that to you.
Okay.
The ROE only gives us ability to remove debris out of the stream on your private property.
Okay, thank you.
Sir.
My property goes to the center of the stream, so I agree to
Everybody
this
does.
and my neighbor doesn't.
We're only going to go halfway through that stream.
Okay. And as you know, most of the stuff is across the stream from my
Yes.
property.
And most of the stuff on the other side of that is DEP or state land.
I don't think we're to the DEP land there. I think that's still Ratner.
Pretty close. Yeah. As you go up the stream.
Yeah, further.
And how many people's lands changed as the stream changed? Because it's the center of the stream, right? Is that what your deed say? So did your property line change with that stream?
No,
change?
it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
No, it does not. Not if it's caused by a flood, it doesn't.
Well, here's the next question.
Property line
Here's the next
stays where the
question.
original stream was.
Glad you said that. Now, here's the next question. If we go start reshaping that water, are we changing deed of land?
No, because all you're gonna do is all you would reshape is the channel, the original channel. You wouldn't reshape the banks or change the course of the stream.
Well,
So it would
there's
be-
land
it'd
if
be
people want
insignificant.
the course changed back to where it was. So,
Well,
not
that'd
that
be
we're-
where the original property line was. That's where their property line will stay anyway.
I
the original line.
don't plan on getting any kind of legal issue. I'm going to tell you
Good
that.
idea.
Oh, man.
If somebody has property on the stream and they have not received the mailing, where do they go to get the permission?
Town Hall has the ROE, Susan has them.
Susan has them.
I have them. Is that what you meant? No. Come on.
Thank you.
She's generally the mean person in Town Hall.
Knock it off.
See what I'm talking about? Sir.
This material that comes out of the stream, it's brought to the staging area and then processed, like
Yeah,
tub grinders kind of thing?
Yeah, any debris, the way it generally works is you remove it to a temporary disposal site, you reduce it, the reduction is then taken to a final disposal site. All that is paid by
On
FEMA.
a reservoir, they're just loading it out of the bowl, you see that, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's their land.
Yeah, I know,
So-
but I mean, and then they take it to
Yeah,
another process.
correct.
Okay.
So we'll find, what we're gonna need, if you guys have ideas and wanna bring it to us, is a temporary disposal site and a final resting place. If you have places, or more than
If
one.
there's not a final resting place, where does it go? Like, just,
It has to go to a final resting, it'll go out of town.
like waste management or?
Yeah, there's lots of places. Well, we will not go take a field, I guarantee you that.
Can that even be used as firewood?
Absolutely. Yeah. Most of the debris that was moved in this town to the side of the road has already been taken for firewood. And in all reality, if it removes itself from our final,
No, I mean,
from our
after
side.
you move it, is there any provision for?
We cannot, there was a policy that actually I started when I was recovery director, that was a pilot, that you could sell all of your debris and whatever you got to keep. And it was to recycle it, so we wanted to go to recycling. That pilot program has since stopped, so anything the town sells, the money's go back to FEMA. That being said, anything that is gone and taken as firewood, the town doesn't have to pay to take it to the final resting place, so you're saving 12.5%, whatever that number is. So, if you take it to a temporary disposal site, chop it up, and it's in nice logs to be taken for firewood, I don't know how Bert wants to do it or how we want to do it, but first come, first served. So we have to track it because we have to know exactly what was taken, and we have to know exactly what came out of the streams because that's the only way we get reimbursed. We have to have good kind of numbers, good take pictures, GPS, and everything. So every stump that is in that stream, So you know how this process works. There has to be an XY GPS axis taken on it, 3 pictures taken of each one. That is the FEMA rule. And that's how these things get very convoluted. It's just rules and regulations. And you get people that just start pulling it out of there and have to pay for it. And I'd like to say I ran the program one time. I learned more leaving. I hope to be back at that agency sometime in the future and change a lot of these rules and regulations. Someday. Any other questions?
Dan,
Yes.
I have one, and it's not about the streams in West Shokan, but it is about the Esopus Creek
Yep.
and how the flooding devastated Boyceville. You and I just briefly discussed it. Could you please give your thoughts on what we might be able to do to prevent that from happening again?
One thing this town needs to look at, and we'll make recommendations as we get down the road, probably a month or so, is hazard mitigation grant program. FEMA gives, and the state actually probably still has a lot of hazard mitigation grant money. Say this disaster costs the state $100 million. FEMA will give an extra $7.5 million to do mitigation projects anywhere in the state. So as part of that, we want to look at and make recommendations to the town what places you can compete for grants to possibly prevent flooding in the future. Whether it's flood walls, whether that's berms, whatever it may be anywhere around town. That you may want to look at, or if you have recommendations to mitigation grants or mitigation projects for this town in areas that weren't, like a bridge wasn't damaged by the storm, because that's another grant program, but something that wasn't damaged by the storm that could prevent future flooding, doesn't even have to be related to a flood, it can be related to any kind of event. So if you guys see projects, Boyceville is a perfect example, is there something you can do down in that area, get some engineering, a hydrologist or hydrologic engineer that can look at it and say, hey, if you move this berm here, that may never happen to downtown Boyceville again, to the central business district. I don't know, but we want to look at those things because there's going to be a lot of money. The state has money from, and the state has had numerous flooding events over the last 10 years, all over the state. So we want to try to capture as much of that money as possible. Sir.
And I just want to answer your question when you brought up. We're I am in contact with Assemblyman Hinchy's office and also Bonasek to see if we can get beyond this 30-day thing. And I also called, can't think of his last name, but Willie, the director down there, he likes to be called Willie, so.
Janeway.
DEC, Janeway down in New Paltz. So my real hopes are with Bonasek and the Cahill. So, and I seen some eyes go up there when we talked about the ash trees and why that's such a big deal. Well, it's the ash borer bug that's in it, and DEC doesn't want to spread it to the rest of the state, so they're trying to quarantine these trees.
And this issue started in 2004 in Michigan, because I was FEMA's recovery director. One thing about the recovery director, they decide who gets the declarations, who doesn't, and make that recommendation to the president through the FEMA director. This issue came up, the state of Michigan asked for $500 million to remove all the ash trees in the state of Michigan, which we didn't pay for, and now it's in place. But it is a major, this ash borer is a major issue, and listening to environmental people on not removing it where you're not supposed to remove it to is pretty important, because it's killed trees from Michigan over. Because there's another one in California called the bark beetle, and they asked for $7 billion to remove trees. So it's a big deal. Any other questions? Getting out of here. That should be hopefully
Okay,
free.
sounds like we covered. Thank you.
My pleasure, sir.